the Camp ASCCA podcast. Serving children and adults with disabilities for over 30 years. Interviews with the people that make ASCCA special.
I came to Camp ASCCA in 1986 from the University of Northern Iowa. And basically the reason I came was I was looking for a summer job that working with people with disabilities because my major was therapeutic recreation. And from the moment I got here, what struck me most about Camp ASCCA was how big the facility was and how many great activities they had. And I knew we were going to be working with kids with disabilities, and I had no idea that the activities would be as in-depth and as challenging and as appeared to be as hard for a non-disabled person. I couldn't imagine a disabled person doing it, but then after spending the summer here, we saw how Camp ASCCA made it happen. But the thing I liked most about it was the stories, you know, from the day one in orientation when you met counselors that had worked here before and program staff that had worked here before, and the full-time staff, everybody had great Camp ASCCA stories.
For any parent who is thinking about sending their child to camp and is a little hesitant to send their child, my best advice would be to send them because they learn so much. And, you know, everybody pitches this big thing about they get to be outside and they're never outside, but it's so much more about actually making friends and seeing people who are in their same situation every single day. And you always meet somebody. Every camper I've ever had has met somebody who is that one step on the ladder higher than they are, you know, dealing with whatever their ailment may be. And they learn so much, and they actually know, you know, they're quote-unquote normal people in the world who actually do think that I'm cool and want to talk to me about my friend just because, you know, I'm 20 and their age and a college kid too. So they learn so much, and they have so much fun, and they actually gain respect for themselves just through being here and people just loving them and wanting to hang out with them and be their friend. I have friends who are campers who I talk to on the phone 3 or 4 times a week. I talked to a camper friend yesterday on the phone for an hour.
Okay. This is my first year at Camp ASCCA.
How did you find out about Camp ASCCA?
Actually, my sister has been coming with the Mobile Rotary Group for about 10 years now, so I've been associated with the camp, but this is my first year being in counseling.
And the central theme of those stories basically boils down to is how the camper affected you rather than how you affected the camper. The great impact the campers had on your life rather than vice versa. And you can hope that as a counselor, program staff, or now as full-time staff that you had the same impact, positive impact on those campers as they do on you.
I think the coolest thing that happened was the first week, session 1 of ASCCA, I was working the program restriction table, and a mother came up and she had listed everything on her program restrictions that he couldn't do anything. And I looked at her and I asked her if there was like a medical reason why he couldn't participate in things, and she said no, and she just kind of looked at me funny, and then she pointed to him and said, he's in a wheelchair. And I was like, oh, well, everything here is adaptable, and anything that he wants to participate in, he can, as long as he has a desire to. We're not going to force him to do anything, but anything he wants to do, he can do at this camp. That's how it's run. And her eyes just lit up, and her face got bright, and she was just so excited. And so she took everything off her list and said that he could do everything. So that was really neat, just seeing, and even being in the field that I'm in, there's a lot of things that I didn't know that people with disabilities could do that I've seen firsthand, and that's just been amazing.
Over 95% of the campers that come to Camp ASCCA are in need of some type of financial assistance. And one way that we've been able to address this problem is obviously through donations to our campership, as we call our Campership Endowment Fund. And our Campership Endowment Fund allows us to utilize the interest off of that account to help offset the cost that we incur while serving the campers that can't pay for the full cost. That's one way to help us greatly.
Yes.
All right. So you've been here several years.
Yes.
Okay. If I were to ask you to say it in a word, hello, the reason you come back.
I like here.
In all of the years that you've been coming here, have you done horseback?
Yes.
Have you done tubing?
Yes.
I'm thinking you like the tubing.
Yes.
And how many times have you been to camp?
I think 5 or 6.
How many times?
5 or 6.
And why do you keep coming back?
Because I love it so much.
What do you love so much about coming to camp?
Tubing.
Just tubing? Is there anything else?
The whole place.
The whole place?
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of friends here?
Yes.
Who's your counselor this week?
Dan, man.
And didn't you say you're going to hang out with him when you leave camp?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with him?
Go to UAB stuff.
UAB sport games?
Yeah.
The most important thing I think a person can do to find out more about Camp ASCCA or do for Camp ASCCA is just come visit the summer program. I think it speaks for itself. I think once any individual has an opportunity to watch what happens here during the summertime, watch the campers participate in the activities, watch the interaction between the counselors and the campers, they understand the value, and then they will then understand how important their donation is to us, how important their support is to the program, and understand that it's a very unique place.
Camp ASCCA, Alabama's special camp for children and adults, serving people with disabilities for over 30 years. Share the site with anyone you know that can benefit from our programs and facilities. Want to be a camper? Check out the front page for an application, campascca.org, campascca.org. Or if you want to be a counselor, volunteer, or donor, check that front page too. Thanks for visiting Easter Seals Camp ASCCA online.